isn't gonna be kid stuff.
Barney.
Sheriff, if you don't mind. One mistake is one too many. These babies can go off. Now...
A small town, a television show, and an entire generation of viewers who will never forget it. The Andy Griffith Show, the legendary sitcom that aired from 1960 to 1968, brought millions to laughter and tears, teaching them how to live with kindness, one episode at a time. Welcome to Hollywood Movie Stars, where memories come alive once more. Today, let's take a look at how the cast of that beloved show has changed over the past 65 years, and uncover the behind-the-scenes truths you've likely never heard before. How old were you when you first watched this show? Share your memories in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss our next nostalgic video.
Got your truck right up here to that fire hydrant. Move it out of here. Hey, Barney!
Frances Bavier. In the Andy Griffith Show, Frances Bavier played Aunt Bee Taylor, the kind and devoted aunt of Andy Taylor. She began taking on the role in 1960 at the age of 58. With her gentle demeanor and neat appearance, Aunt Bee was the image of a traditional Southern woman, caring for her family and always striving to bring peace to the town of Mayberry. The special bond between Aunt Bee and her nephew Opie, Ron Howard, touched audiences for many years. Frances Bavier was born on December 14, 1902, in New York City. She studied at Columbia University and the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, quite an unusual achievement for women at the time. Before gaining fame, she had performed on Broadway and appeared in films such as The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951. Behind the scenes, Frances was known to be strict, reserved, and uncomfortable in crowds. However, she took her profession very seriously and always put her whole heart into her performances. After the Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, Frances Bavier only took on a few small roles before retiring completely in 1974. She moved into seclusion in Siler City, North Carolina, in a historic home with more than 12 rooms. Unmarried and without children, Frances lived alone with 14 cats, something that sparked a lot of media gossip at the time. She once admitted that she regretted being distant from her co-stars, especially Andy Griffith. In her final years, she suffered from heart disease and memory loss. Frances Bavier passed away on December 6, 1989, at the age of 86 due to heart and kidney failure. She was buried at Oakwood Cemetery in Siler City. Though she lived quietly, her estate was estimated to be worth around $700,000 at the time of her death. Today, the people of Siler City still remember Frances as a quiet yet compassionate woman, just like the role of Aunt Bee that she so perfectly brought to life. Ron Howard.
Kids get 75 cents a week allowance instead of 25 cents.
I'd come to see there's 52 weeks in a year.
It comes to around $40 a year.
Ron Howard rose to fame through his role as Opie Taylor, the charming and clever son of Sheriff Andy Taylor in the Andy Griffith Show. Little Ron was just 6 years old when he first appeared on screen in 1960. The character of Opie not only represented the innocence and purity of childhood, but also served as an emotional catalyst for the deeply touching father-son relationship in the show. The heartfelt conversations between Opie and his father moved millions of viewers to tears. Ronald William Howard was born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma. His father, Rance Howard, was an actor, and his mother, Jean Spiegel, was a stage actress, so he grew up in an artistic environment. Howard was not a spoiled child. On the contrary, his family moved frequently due to work. Ron was known as a serious boy, not mischievous, and especially fascinated by film production behind the scenes. Besides the Andy Griffith Show, Ron also appeared in The Music Man, 1962, and several other television shows while still in elementary school. After a childhood closely tied to the role of Opie, Ron Howard did not fall into the traps that many child stars face, but instead transitioned into one of Hollywood's most successful directors. He left a profound mark with films such as Apollo 13, 1995, A Beautiful Mind, 2001, which won him the Academy Award for Best Director,
Ron Howard.
The Da Vinci Code, 2006, and Rush, 2013, all noted for their humanistic storytelling and polished direction. Ron married Cheryl Alley, his high school sweetheart, in 1975, at the young age of 21. The couple has lived happily together for nearly 50 years, a rare feat in the entertainment world. They have 4 children, including Bryce Dallas Howard, now a famous actress, Jurassic World, along with 3 other children who rarely appear in public. Family has always been at the center of Ron's life. He rarely attends flashy events and maintains a humble lifestyle. As of 2025, at the age of 71, Ron continues to produce films through Imagine Entertainment and holds an estimated net worth of over $200 million. He is respected not only for his talent, but also for his exemplary family life and unwavering dedication to traditional values, the very ideals that the Andy Griffith Show once celebrated. Don Knotts.
Can I have an apple?
Oh, sure, help yourself.
Don Knotts took on the role of Barney Fife, the deputy sheriff of Mayberry, when he was 36 years old. This character was the close yet clumsy and anxious colleague of Sheriff Andy Taylor. Although he often caused trouble, Barney's loyalty and enthusiasm made him the primary source of comedy for the entire series.
You gotta keep a stiff chin.
Don Knotts, whose full name was Jesse Donald Knotts, was born on July 21, 1924, in Morgantown, West Virginia. His childhood was marked by hardship. His father suffered from mental illness and passed away when Don was only 13. Don had to work from a young age and later enlisted in the military during World War II, where he performed as an entertainer for the troops. After the war, he graduated from West Virginia University and began his television career. Knotts once worked as a street magician to make a living before making his way to Hollywood. He had previously performed alongside Andy Griffith in the stage production No Time for Sergeants, their first collaboration, which laid the foundation for their iconic partnership. While starring in The Andy Griffith Show, Don won the Emmy Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series 5 times, a record still unmatched in sitcom history. After leaving The Andy Griffith Show in 1965, Don Knotts continued to find success in comedies such as The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, 1966, The Incredible Mr. Limpet, 1964, and later returned to television with Three's Company, playing Mr. Furley. He maintained his charming comedic style, which kept him beloved throughout his career. Despite his glowing fame on screen, Don Knotts' personal life was far from smooth. He went through 3 marriages, first to Catherine Metz, 1947 to 1964, then to Laura Lee Tsukna, 1974 to 1983, and finally to Frances Yarborough, whom he married in 2002 and remained with until his passing. From his first marriage, he had 2 children, 1 son and 1 daughter. After his first divorce, Knotts fell into a long period of depression and had to seek psychological help. In terms of health, Don Knotts was diagnosed with a neurodegenerative disease, a condition that affected his memory and motor skills. This gradually diminished his ability to perform, forcing him to limit appearances in long-term roles. In his final years, he battled lung cancer and ultimately passed away due to complications from pneumonia in Los Angeles on February 24, 2006, at the age of 81. Andy Griffith.
Why, that'd be like putting a pig in a sty and taking away the mud.
In 1960, Andy Griffith, then 34 years old, took on the role of Sheriff Andy Taylor, the main character of The Andy Griffith Show. Andy Taylor was a widowed father living in the town of Mayberry, serving both as sheriff and as a devoted, calm father who handled all of the town's troubles with wisdom and compassion. His relationship with his son Opie, played by Ron Howard, was the emotional core of the entire series, alongside his deep friendship with Barney Fife, Don Knotts. Born Andrew Samuel Griffith on June 1, 1926, in Mount Airy, North Carolina, the town that would later inspire Mayberry, Griffith grew up in poverty, living in a home without electricity or running water. Before becoming famous, he worked as a music teacher and folk singer. With his warm Southern voice, he broke into television in the 1950s and gained acclaim with A Face in the Crowd, 1957.
You know what the public's like, a cage full of guinea pigs.
Good night, you stupid idiot.
Griffith was not only an actor but also an influential producer and director. On set, he was known for his calm demeanor and strong opinions, often revising dialogue to make the character feel more real. He maintained close relationships with his co-stars, especially Don Knotts and Ron Howard. After The Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, Griffith continued to star in various television projects, most notably Matlock, 1986 to 1995, where he played attorney Ben Matlock, marking a successful comeback after a quieter period in his career. He also recorded several gospel albums and won a Grammy Award in 1997. Despite his success, his personal life was filled with turbulence. Griffith went through 3 marriages. His first wife was Barbara Bray Edwards, whom he married in 1949 and divorced in 1972. They adopted 2 children, a son named Sam Griffith and a daughter named Dixie Griffith. After the divorce, Andy remarried Salika Kasuto, a Greek actress, but that marriage ended quietly after a few years. His third wife, Cindy Knight, nearly 30 years his junior, remained by his side until the end. However, the death of his adopted son, Sam Griffith, due to substance abuse in 1996, caused him deep depression. Griffith himself also battled chronic arthritis and underwent bypass surgery in 2000. On July 3, 2012, he passed away at his home on Roanoke Island, North Carolina, due to a heart attack at the age of 86. Notably, he was buried just a few hours after his death by his family's private wishes. At the time, his net worth was estimated at around $60 million. Aneta Corsaut.
Would you like to have a baby, Miss Crump?
What kind of question is that, Opie?
Aneta Corsaut joined The Andy Griffith Show in 1963 at the age of 30, playing the role of Helen Crump, a serious, educated, and compassionate school teacher in the town of Mayberry. Helen was the love interest, and later fiancé, of Andy Taylor, the main character played by Andy Griffith. Although she only appeared starting in Season 3, Helen quickly became an essential part of the show thanks to her independent, modern personality that stood out from the rural women of the time.
Oh, good. Tall, dark, and a door prize.
Aneta was born on November 3, 1933, in Hutchinson, Kansas. She studied acting at Northwestern University, where she was a classmate of the famous actor Charlton Heston. Before gaining recognition, she worked as a photo model and stage actress. Interestingly, the role of Helen was initially intended to be a one-episode guest appearance, but Aneta's outstanding performance earned her a permanent spot through the end of the series. Beyond Mayberry, she also appeared in television shows such as Emergency and House Calls, leaving a mark with her portrayal of intelligent, strong women. After the series ended, Aneta continued to reprise her role as Helen in follow-up productions like Return to Mayberry, 1986. However, her career did not experience any breakthroughs after that. Though she was known for her wholesome on-screen image, In real life, Aneta led a rather private life. She never married and had no children, a fact that intrigued many fans. There were rumors that she had a real-life relationship with Andy Griffith, but neither of them ever confirmed it. Aneta was diagnosed with cancer in the late 1990s, but she kept her illness private until her passing on November 6, 1995, just 3 days after her 62nd birthday. She died in Los Angeles, California, and her ashes were interred at Valhalla Memorial Park Cemetery. According to several sources, her estimated net worth at the time of her death was about $3 million, most of which came from television royalties and real estate investments. George Lindsey. George Lindsey played the role of Goober Pyle, a clumsy and somewhat simple-minded mechanic in the town of Mayberry. Making his first appearance in 1964 at the age of 36, Goober was the cousin of the character Gomer Pyle, portrayed by Jim Nabors. Though not particularly sharp, Goober brought a pure and relatable humor, becoming a beloved supporting character thanks to his sincerity and loyalty to friends like Andy Taylor and Barney Fife.
They're doing it, they're doing it! Be quiet!
George Lindsey was born in 1928 in Alabama. Growing up in a poor farming family, he once worked as a teacher and played football before studying acting at the American Theater Wing in New York. Lindsey originally auditioned for the role of Gomer, but was unsuccessful. However, the role of Goober earned him significant recognition. In addition to the Andy Griffith Show, he continued appearing in the spin-off Mayberry RFD and on Hee Haw. Interestingly, George had a deep love for children with disabilities and regularly organized fundraising events for hospitals dedicated to their care. After retiring from the role of Goober, Lindsey did not take on many major roles but became a dedicated philanthropist, especially devoted to children with disabilities. He founded the George Lindsey UNA Film Festival to support emerging filmmaking talent. He married Joyanne Herbert and had 2 children, but the marriage ended in the late 1990s. Financially, George lived a stable life thanks to royalties and real estate investments, with an estimated net worth of around $500,000 at the time of his death. Nevertheless, he once shared about the loneliness and pressure of fame after his peak years, particularly as many of his close co-stars passed away. In his later years, he suffered from chronic heart failure and died on May 6, 2012, at the age of 83, in Nashville, Tennessee. George Lindsey was laid to rest at Oak Hill Cemetery in Jasper, Alabama, a place he had always dreamed of returning to. Though not an A-list star, he remains dearly loved by audiences for his genuine smile and kind heart.
Judy, Judy. Oh, I can't do it. Judy, 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 Judy.
Jim Nabors.
An axe. Shazam.
Jim Nabors first appeared on The Andy Griffith Show in 1962 at the age of 32, playing the role of Gomer Pyle, a naive, good-natured mechanic with a warm heart and an unexpectedly operatic singing voice. The character quickly became a sensation and developed a close bond with Andy Taylor and Barney Fife, creating countless unforgettable comedic moments. Gomer's simplicity, sincerity, and cheerful personality endeared him to audiences so much that he was given his successful spin-off series, Gomer Pyle, USMC. Jim Nabors was born in 1930 in Sylacauga, Alabama, to a working-class family. In his early years, he worked as a typist for CBS before being discovered by Andy Griffith while singing at a bar in California. With a remarkable baritone voice, he surprised many by performing deeply emotional ballads, a striking contrast to Gomer's clumsy comedic persona. Outside of acting, Jim released more than 28 music albums and was often invited to sing the national anthem at major events like the Indianapolis 500. After leaving Gomer Pyle USMC in 1969, Jim Nabors continued his career in music and television, regularly appearing on variety shows such as The Carol Burnett Show and hosting his program, The Jim Nabors Hour. Despite his fame, he led a fairly private life and spent most of his time in Hawaii. Jim was gay but kept his orientation private for much of his life out of concern that it might impact his career. In 2013, when it became legally possible, he officially married his partner of 38 years, Stan Cadwallader. Jim once suffered from hepatitis B, which led to a liver transplant in 1994 and significantly affected his health. Nevertheless, he remained optimistic and continued to be beloved by fans. He passed away on November 30th, 2017, at the age of 87 in Honolulu, Hawaii. His funeral was held privately, and his remains were laid to rest locally. Jim Nabors' estimated net worth at the time of his death was $15 million, earned mainly from music, television, and real estate in Hawaii. The life stories of the Andy Griffith Show cast form a rich and varied picture, filled with spotlight and also with unexpected shadows. Whose story surprised you the most? Was there a detail that touched your heart? Share your thoughts with us below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you notice any inaccuracies, feel free to kindly let the Hollywood Movie Stars team know so we can improve future videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next part of our journey.